And before we focus on Man City and Chelsea, Keith, it'd be great to get your opinion on, given everything going on with Tottenham, of course, involving Jermaine Defoe's agent case, could these two, separate incidences, both Everton and Tottenham, then transpire across the league into effectively a snowball, bringing up lots of different things that have happened over, say, the past 25 years? Is there a concern that actually this could happen, like you've mentioned about the independent panel?
Yeah, I think this is my big concern, is that all of a sudden everybody's suing everybody else and the whole thing just descends into a mess. Look, there are skeletons in football. It's no big secret. There have been deals done over the years that probably shouldn't have been done.
Yeah, brown envelopes and everything else.
Yeah, look, it's been a soap opera of football. And there's no doubt that there could well be skeletons in probably every closet somewhere in football. So if that opens it all up and it starts to become a legal free-for-all, then we might as well just watch the court hearings rather than watch the match of the day.
And it sounds like then Everton, from Keith's perspective at least, that are actually in quite a difficult position. Wayne, if you could just walk us through Manchester City's alleged charges alongside Chelsea and any potential updates that have come over the course of the last week with those.
Yeah, I mean, Man City have defending 115 charges, dating all the way back to 2009. So it's nearly a decade and a half, and that's about sort of third party payments to former managers like Mancini from offshore accounts. So that's slightly different to Everton's, but it's an even more detailed case. And sort of the latest from the Premier League is that this case might not be heard for 2 years or even 3 years, because Man City keep appealing sort of to have it delayed, which seems completely wrong. I'm very interested to get Keith's view on that, about sort of Man City can continue delaying the process. Keith, I mean, Everton must be sort of not only watching this very closely, but also very concerned how a sort of seemingly more powerful club and sort of better lawyered club are able to get away with this.
Look, somebody told me the other day, I don't know how accurate it is, but they said that Man City have got about 30 in-house legal in the legal department.
Wow,
which is a huge department.
How many did Everton have when you were CEO?
We didn't even have an in-house lawyer when I was CEO.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I was at Aston Villa, we had one lawyer and 2 assistants.
Wow.
So that gives you some idea of the scale that we're talking about. So the threat, whether that number is accurate or not, as I say, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that it's a big department.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the implied threat is there that we're going to tie you up in court, and we can tie you up in court. Whether you're UEFA, whether you're the Premier League, whether you're the FA, we're going to fight you to a standstill and, cost you a bloody fortune. So that's what seems to have happened. They've carried on tying things up. Now that's one strategy. And look, when you've got a wealthy backer behind it, maybe that's one way to go. Maybe if Mashiri had not, if Usmanov had not been sanctioned and was able to help fund Mashiri, maybe there would have been a different legal team in place for Everton. Who knows? Again, supposition, but it does, beg the question: why does it take so long? I know there are detailed cases, but surely you could have started picking off one by one each of the charges in some way and got some sort of resolution. But again, I'm not party to the Premier League's knowledge and the charges.
I mean, surely. Oh, go on. What you say?
Yeah, I mean, Everton fans will be, get very emotional, rightly so, and also angry about the punishment their club's been given. They'll be thinking, well, Man City should be 50, if they're found guilty of these 115 charges, should be 50, 60 more points, relegation. What would your view be on that, Keith?
Well, I think it's a pretty dramatic sort of headline to talk about, putting Man City into the National League or dropping them down to leagues. Also, it did happen with the Rangers, obviously, in Scotland.
Yeah.
So it has happened. And then you worry about things like, would Abu Dhabi then have a word in the government's ear and say, well, by the way, this new defence contract we're thinking about, maybe that won't happen if this happens to Man City. It goes on and on in terms of where this leads to now, which is why it should have been nipped in the bud, and ways found to resolve this and warning shots across the bows could have been done a while ago, rather than going the full route that we're going down right now with the legal situations.
And Keith, what if you had to give an opinion then? If Everton get 10 points for one charge, what charge do you think Man City and Chelsea should face should their cases turn out to actually be true and accurate?
I couldn't say because I don't know enough detail about the charges themselves, and all I've done is I've read the the leaked emails that were out at the time. It would seem to be a serious breach, and so there's got to be if they're going on the points deduction route. But then again, look, we've got to wait until the appeal as well, because until we know the final penalty that is given to Everton, then you don't really know what the scale is going to be. My own opinion on the appeal is that there may well be a reduction, a considerable reduction, and either suspended. It could well be a points deduction, but suspended. And then you'd have to look at then how that would sit against a Man City, situation. So,
yeah. I mean, that's quite interesting. Because one of the things I was told by a pretty good source last week was that the appeal was likely to reduce the deduction to around 3 to 6 points, which might seem a fairer outcome. I mean, and you're talking about potentially suspended deduction. That would be a massive turnaround where that to happen, wouldn't it? And completely sort of change the climate in a way for this.
Well, it's in a funny way. It's also in Man City and Chelsea's interest to now put pressure to make sure that the penalty gets reduced.
Yeah.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.